I am here with Alex Ross from Instacart. Alex, how are you doing today?
I'm great, thanks. How are you, Marlon?
Doing fantastic. So, Alex, what exactly do you do for Instacart and Foodstorm?
Yes. So I lead our strategy and sales efforts around the Foodstorm product line, which is Instacart's total order management solution for our grocery partners.
Why would you say it's important for supermarkets to find new ways to monetize their perimeter departments?
What has always fascinated me, been most exciting about grocery is not the box of Cheerios, but those really, really unique and personalized items that come out of the fresh perimeter counters within a grocery store. And what brings me back time and time again are those unique and fresh offerings that they have. So the focus on there and the fact that the fresh perimeter counters for a grocer are so margin rich and such loyalty drivers, such differentiated offerings, that's the first and foremost reason of why it's so important to focus their time, attention, and energy there. The second thing I would say is as the landscape is obviously evolved and shifting, market share is a hard thing to gain right now. Consumers are very sensitive about how and where they're spending their dollars. And in this incredibly competitive landscape, leaning into the areas that can drive what I would say are probably the three largest KPIs for a grocer: sales growth, an enhanced guest experience, and labor efficiency. If you can check the box on even one, but ideally all three of those, that's pretty important, and the fresh perimeter counters can absolutely do that. This is definitely an area where guests are also the least price sensitive. So when you think about not having items that are so easily commoditized, but actually make you more differentiated, make you unique for who and what you are, that drives loyalty, that drives stickiness. And I guess the last thing I would just say is, right now, the early adopters, the first movers, they're gonna have the real advantage. They're gonna be the ones who go fully omnichannel in these perimeter counter areas. They will win and they will reap those benefits. Groceries have been operating for decades, in some cases centuries, in virtually the exact same way. So pen and paper processes, very labor inefficient processes, are highly common in the grocery space, and particularly in areas that have been harder to digitize. Companies like Instacart have done an amazing job in showing grocers the value of an online experience and bringing that center store online. But until recently, it's been really hard to also bring your perimeter counters into that experience. The reality is there's an opportunity to elevate this experience in the same way that every grocer says they want to, and they care about that guest experience. Like, there is a way to actually bring that to life online. And I would say one of the missed opportunities and realities behind that is every grocer will also say that it's now been proven the omni-channel consumer is the most valuable customer for them. They know that they spend 1.5x more than that of a single channel customer. They say that they want to focus on driving loyalty and on making their customers more sticky with them. But that doesn't really show up in a true omni-channel way, which, by the way, omni-channel customers are 3 times more loyal than a digital only or an in-store only customer. So if you truly want to do those things, you need to understand what the omni-channel customer craves, and that's every way to buy with you. If a guest feels like they can't get it, how they want it, when they want it, if it isn't convenient, it doesn't really matter how good your food tastes. The highest volume counters in any grocery store is going to be the deli department. And how many times have you walked up to a deli counter, getting ready to place your sliced turkey and cheese order, only to be faced with 7 customers, 8 customers ahead of you, and have to grab the paper ticket and feel like, oh my God, I just don't have the time to wait. Abandoned sales left and right as a result of that. The inverse scenario, which most people don't think about as often, is, well, at non-peak hours, when there's maybe only one associate working behind the counter, and a guest walks up to that counter, Many times, especially now in a labor-strapped industry, that associate now has to go do some other high-value task in the back of the store. The counter is effectively closed in the customer's eyes because they show up and there's no one there. Again, leading to a missed sale. So these lost sales opportunities are incredibly real. Customer perception is incredibly real. And for anyone who says, hey, I care about that hospitality experience, I care about my guest experience, I would challenge them to say convenience and availability are core to creating a really elevated customer experience. So you ask, like, how do you resolve this? I'll give one example, the always-on ordering channel. And in the case of in-store, where the vast majority of a retailer's order volume still exists, that would look something like an in-store kiosk, which is an always-on ordering channel, purpose-built to allow the guest to, in a more convenient way, go forward, place an order, not just stand and clog up the deli counter line, but go and shop the rest of the store, anything else that they need to be doing, and be alerted when their sliced turkey and cheese is ready. When you look at something like what that technology powers from a front-end guest experience, it needs to translate then back into bringing efficiency gains to the store themselves. And the way we like to think of it is a single pane of glass to manage all orders, agnostic of where those might come from. In the Instacart example, that could mean coming from the kiosk itself, that mobile QR code, but Instacart's marketplace, our what we call Storefront Pro, but the owned and operated website that we can power for a grocer, and even through our Caper Cart, so the smart AI cart. Imagine shopping the center aisle for your Cheerios, having a great experience and saying, I don't even need to go to the deli counter, but I'm gonna place an order right now to it. It sends automatically to a kitchen display system in the back, and the guest has the ability to be alerted when that order is actually ready to go grab their personalized, sliced, how they've asked item. The conversion, the capability of capturing that omnichannel guest is real, it's fascinating, and that's how you create that elevated, digitized experience across all of your perimeter counters.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like you already touched on this question, but I have to ask you anyways. Can you walk us through specific examples of how supermarkets have successfully used technology to boost their perimeter department performance?
As we think about the partners that we work with across North America, we work with grocers and frankly, lots of different retailers beyond just grocery, but in the case of grocery, of all different sizes and shapes. Every grocer has similar challenges. It's a razor-thin margin industry. It is rife with competition. And again, they're all looking for that competitive edge to level up the guest experience and focus on items that bring the most margin richness. But in the case of a smaller independent grocer, they most often haven't invested in technology yet. Going from pen and paper into a digitally native experience, both for the guest as well as for their in-store associate, that is immediate sales lift. That is immediate efficiency because of the production reports that they're provided, their ability to be more effective in what they're doing and how they're communicating with their guests. Go to sort of that middle example and think about the regionals or super regional type grocers. They've probably started to dabble their toes into the world of digital a bit more. They may be able to take some version of an online order, but now being able to expand the use case to all of their perimeter offerings, things like made-to-order sandwiches, custom cakes, adding those items to incremental and new sales channels, not just a dedicated form to place a catering order, but having that natively integrated into, again, the Instacart marketplace or their owned and operated website, taking care of that in store. It becomes more accessible to all of their guests. And then lastly, on like the largest of scale, you look at, be it a Kroger, right, or a Costco, they are very digitally native organizations who have invested heavily. But all of a sudden, the lots of different systems that they have across all the different stores and all the different banners creates a bottleneck when it comes to centralization of information, the ability to access data that is highly valuable. So by having a mechanism to bring all of that information into one centralized, one reporting and analytics dashboard for themselves, That could be backed by a CRM system to drive repeat and continued engagement with those guests. Those are the type of enterprise-wide unlocks that digitizing your perimeter store can bring forward. So looking at those different opportunities, you can see how they play across retailers of all size, but they bring a lot of value to the table.
Well, here's a $1 million question. If a supermarket professional is interested in turning their perimeter departments into better profit centers, where should they begin?
I mean, I think the obvious answer is Instacart. I'm probably supposed to say that, but no, in all seriousness, I think, look, the answer is to digitize the entire experience and think about it from that true omnichannel lens. Most importantly, there's a lot of tech out there in general, but partnering with someone who's purpose-built for grocery. There's something to be said about a true blended basket experience. We're not just trying to solve for like the lunch period rush or what's for dinner tonight. Those are very important use cases that we can solve for, but we also want to say when someone is placing that weekly grocery shop, how do we make sure the whole store is merchandised, the whole store is available to them as well? So we want to hit every part of a customer's plate anytime that they could possibly be engaging with a retailer.
Man, well, Alex, thank you so much for joining me today and answering these questions. You have tons of amazing insights to share, and I'm sure the viewers out there watching are truly going to appreciate it. So thank you for your time.
Hey, thank you.